What is going on, you guys? Thank you for stopping by. We are talking about the first ever player to achieve a level 5 Electro Wizard, none other than our friend Pompeo, announcing it on Twitter and getting a lot of action on his tweets. If you guys want to follow him, his Twitter account is right there. Obviously, one of the most skilled players in the game and has a lot of time to dedicate to grinding because, I mean, to get to level 5, you're talking about 20 wins just from level 4 to 5. So a lot of wins at this challenge, and he did manage to grind it out before the challenge ended. Pretty amazing. And this right here is the deck that he used. So of course I decided to use Pompeo's deck and try myself and see just how far I could get in the challenge. These are some of the battles, and unfortunately we don't have Pompeo's gameplay, but maybe at some point in the future we could give him a shout and have him stop by the channel and show us how he uses this deck because, well, let's just be honest, he's going to use it better than I did. Now, I did manage to win some battles with it, and obviously the deck is effective. It does manage to catch people off guard, but I did find myself defending against this very deck several times as well. You can see my opponent has a similar deck, and he's got that graveyard as well. So, I don't know. It goes back to what I've been saying the last few days as we've been talking about the Electro Wizard and the Electro Wizard Challenge. And that is that you're likely to have the most success in a challenge with a deck that you're familiar with a deck that contains some cards that maybe you've been using pretty frequently, that you get a lot of practice with. That's going to help you become more proficient at knowing exactly the abilities and the limitations of each and every card in the deck and which cards it counters, which cards you need maybe another card to counter. Those things are what the really top level players know. They just know it at the top of their head, at the tip of their tongue, at the front of their lobe, at whatever you want to call it. It's just instinct to those guys. They know exactly how to counter, where to place units, and for me, maybe not quite as good. Now, this guy kept on coming after me with the graveyard and the minion horde. Luckily, I was able to hold him off repeatedly. The Ice Golem, a great card against that because obviously that explosion damage is going to damage the minion horde. The same with the Electro Wizard. His zap spell when you drop him does a great job. So really, you've got like 3 different style zaps in this deck, plus the fireball, of course. So it works out pretty well to defend against the graveyard, to hold this guy and all of his minions off, and just grind his tower down slowly but surely. Now, check out Pompeo's tweets on the right-hand side. There it is right there. There is. We did it, Pompeo. And check out the retweets and favorites on a relatively small Twitter account. So getting a lot of recognition from other players like myself, from Clash Royale, no doubt. Level 5 Electro Wizard is no small feat. Now, it was a big investment in gems, but I believe at one point he tweeted out something like he won something like 10 challenges in a row. So just crazy. Again, congrats to Pompeo. And your deck, it worked for me. Did it work to 12 wins? No, unfortunately. But that, again, it just comes down to the fact that it's not just about the deck. It's about how you use it. It's about skill. And here I am facing Jesus66 from Pina Colada. And he runs in with the Elite Barbs right away. All I could do is try to throw in a fireball at one of them. And we do eventually stop them, but not before we take about 1,000 hit points in damage off that left tower. Now, a big 10 elixir push like that right at the start of a game is definitely something I would almost never try and would never recommend. It leaves you elixir starved, and oftentimes your opponent can put together a big counter push. In this case, I came on the opposite lane. The bowler getting there. Here comes the graveyard as the bowler and the Ice Golem are distracting the tower and that Zap Wizard, the Electro Wizard there. He finally does go down, and by the time everything clears out, Jesus was forced to drop a furnace in the back corner. And check out that damage to his right lane tower. I have got a huge lead right now. It is down to just over 600 hit points, and we have just over a minute and a half left. But once again, I can't even tell you if this is exactly how Pompeo is using this deck. Now, some of the fundamentals, of course, dropping the bowlers at the very back, dropping the Ice Golems at the very back, that is probably pretty common, but it's countering specific assaults like this, the Ice Golem and the Hog Rider. Is that how Pompeo would have done it? maybe, maybe not. Now, I, of course, am showing you my wins with this deck and not my losses because, of course, I did manage to lose 3 times before I won 12 using this deck. I went on to try a couple of different decks, and at the end of this episode, we will show my best effort to date as the Electro Wizard Challenge has just ended, and you'll see my last results at the very end of this video. So right here, 60 seconds left, Bowler trying to get to the tower. You can see that it's just a matter of holding him off at this point, not making any severe mistakes. Feels good when you got to this point. There goes the graveyard. That should just about take out the tower. Electro Wizard and the Bowler getting in the way. I drop the Ice Golem on the left-hand side just to make sure I don't make a bad mistake there at the last second and get backdoored by some Elite Barbs, because you know he's got them ready. So there they go on the right-hand side. Big push, Elite Barbs, Hog Rider, and the Bowler. Luckily, we were able to stuff that push pretty well right at the tower, turn things around, and just as time counts down, we will be able to rotate around to a Zap spell. There it is, taking the tower out and giving us the last-minute 1-0 lead, which will end up being the 1-0 win. So, you guys, this was not my favorite challenge. I'm going to admit to you, it was fun, but I really liked the double elixir challenge. That one was a lot of fun. This one, I forgot. Okay. So, I'm so bad at this game. I'm sorry. So I got careless there, obviously, and let him put together a big Ice Golem and Elite Barbarian push. And I guess it's so funny, as I sit here narrating this battle, that's pretty much how I treated the battle at the time. I just considered it was over. I'm like, I got this. No big deal. I can just relax, kick back. Sure enough, he puts together one solid push. That's something Pompeo wouldn't have done. Let him get in there and obviously just about wipe me out. Now his Elite Barbs over on the right-hand side had just barely squeezed in that Ice Golem to try to slow down the damage. We've finally gotten the damage on that left tower. And yes, the battle's actually over. We won 2 crowns to 1. I mean, it's exhausting, you guys. This game takes a lot out of me. It really does. So let's move on to another battle. The meta within the meta, I would say, was what we were seeing towards the end of the Electro Wizard Challenge. And what I mean by that was, there was this little mini meta within the challenge where you saw players using Skeleton Army, Goblin Barrel, Minion Horde, Mirror Card. And it was a lot of this Zap Bait style deck. And also you saw the Furnace in there, of course. So this is exactly the meta that we saw developing in the game, where players were using this to take out the very common use of the Elite Barbarians. And I guess I would just have to say that when it comes to playing Clash Royale, you have to realize that things are going to be different for tournament play versus challenge play versus trophy play. Now, of course, tournament and challenge play probably pretty similar as far as the way the meta develops, because certain cards are just slightly stronger at tournament standards, as opposed to maybe if you're playing at level 10, 11, 12, or even 13. The cards just going to be slightly different. Obviously, when players max out their cards first, those are the cards they're going to want to use. In this case, when everything is level, then there are certain cards that just shine a little bit better. Obviously, we saw a lot of the Golem and the Elite Barbs and the Graveyard, and maybe because of those 3 cards being so predominant in this challenge, that's why we saw this mini meta develop, and that's what the opposing player, Gersi, had in this battle. The Goblin Barrel with the Mirror Card. Again, all sorts of cards that are going to bait out your Zap, your Fireball. But the thing is, the Electro Wizard has that Zap installed, and you can't take out an entire Goblin Barrel, but you can take out 2 of the 3 Goblins by dropping him right on the tower as soon as the Goblin Barrel lands. So that works out pretty well. Again, the Ice Golem has that power to zap. Check this out. Beautiful drop of the Ice Wizard right there. It eliminates that entire pack and gets him at least to the tower for 1 or 2 shots as I drop the Graveyard. Now my opponent had the Skeleton Army, but a great zap spell there. He drops another Skeleton Army, and not a whole lot I could do. I don't know if that Fireball was really that well planned right there. Now we've got to sit back on defense again. The Bowler does a great job of taking out those Goblin Barrels as well. He turns around, spins around, takes them out, goes back out after the tower. Now at the very end of this battle, watch the left tower as I'm grinding it down, and watch my opponent drop the Skeleton Army and then the mirrored Skeleton Army right there, and I zapped both. He dropped the mirrored skeleton army a split second too soon. The zap spell takes out double skeleton armies, and I'm able to take out that left tower. So that was pretty crazy. Game is pretty much over at this point. I can control those goblins. Please, can I this time for a change? Okay, yes, I think I can. All right, so that is one of my mistakes. I'll always get overconfident if I get ahead, and sometimes I give up a tower. Okay, so, hey Pompeo, great deck, man. Great job, great skill, more like it. I tried your deck. It got me a ways, but it only got me to about 9 wins. Now, at the end of this video is a replay. I cannot bear to narrate it. I cannot bear to watch it again. So it's just going to be there. If you want to watch it at the end, it is here. Otherwise, have a fantastic day. Hashtag GalaFam. See you tomorrow. Like, comment, subscribe. Full attack. Galley Gold. This ought to be good.
Listen.